and the cat trick. So Pavel made this play, the backstab SI7 counter, with the knowledge full in his mind that the cat in the hat was going to come out here, but was he banking on a huffer following it up?
Definitely not. Huffer from Animal Companion can be one of the most intense moments in the game here, as this really just either can remove the SI7 agent, pressure for damage, the SI will get bounced by freezing if it's left up, and then, well, yeah, there's Tomb Pillager, but that just feels pretty slow when there's 8 power on board.
Yeah, Amnesiasc just taking his time here, considering the implications of giving essentially another 5-mana removal tool to his opponent in his hand, but 5-mana SI7 agent, it still demands a combo tool to be used to go along with it. You saw a backstab paired with it on the previous turn. Preparation is obviously something that you have to worry about, but for me, this is 8 damage to the face, but Amnesiasc actually bails out, decides to trade here.
Yeah, I think what he wants to do is know that he can go the long game. He does have the second tracking, so he can pick up some late game options, maybe a bow. And the idea is you expect Tomb Pillager on 4 from Rogue. And well, this is going to come down, and there's no other minions that can really, you know, that they're really cheap enough to be able to bounce. So if the Tomb Pillager gets bounced back with the freezing, then it just slows the game down even more on Pavel's side, and Amnesiasc can continue on with this pressure.
Raven, I have a counterpoint. If Tomb Pillager came down this turn and you'd just gone face and the SI7 had got frozen, you've dealt 16 damage in that period of time, even more with this Houndmaster follow-up. I personally would have gone aggressive in this line. Amnesiasc definitely knows what he's doing. He's still in a very comfortable spot here. His thinking, you can push that thought process 1 turn forward, and now he's saying, okay, this Tomb Pillager gets frozen. I push 6 this turn, and then next turn, essentially, I can push another 10 again. Hey, that's 16 too, so we could essentially just end up back in the same spot. So I can understand his line of thinking here, but we'll see if the slightly conservative play comes back to bite him in the later turns.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Smark option more than anyone, and you know, like you said, this from Amnesiasc, sorry. Maybe just lining up more damage in the future. The tracking is going to be pretty key, I think, to close out the game. 1 kill command was already gone, as that was one of Amnesiac's options from his initial tracking. So there's only 1 more left, but there is still Eagle Horn Bow, there is still Quick Shot as well, so there's still plenty of damage you can draw into if he gets to the point where he needs it to close out the game. Pavel is going to clear up the board and just not attack with the Tomb Pillager. Wants to get something else down so he can maybe get the coin quicker.
Yeah, I think he wants that Tomb Pillager to die, particularly looking at his hand right now. He wants a combo activator for the SI7 agent. He wants a buff for the Edwin. The coin is an extremely good card for him right now, so he's trying to find a way to use this Tomb Pillager as a trading tool on the board, or even as an aggressive pushing tool, and still be able to get that coin as a follow-up. But Amnesiac's hand now just running a little bit dry, and this is where that tracking might come into play to give him some gas for a following turn, as you said. You can add Stranglethorn Tiger to that list of cards that you came up with as well. That'll be a huge pickup. His 1 high main, of course, was another card that was lost to the original tracking along with the kill command. So some of his late game options have been diminished.
Yeah, I think exactly to your point, I like this turn from Amnesiasc. He uses all of his mana. He hasn't got Pavel down enough where a hero power every turn is going to count yet.
Yep.
And also next turn he can track into a Tiger and just play the Tiger. So he'll be on 6 mana. So I really like this play. Just put as much annoyance on the board for Pavel to deal with, and then build off that tracking next turn.
Speaking of annoyance, I think Pavel needs to create some this turn. If his plan is to be able to operate with this Tomb Pillager bypassing the freezing trap, he needs to get some minions on the board right now, and there's a pretty miserable looking turn that involves playing a 2/2 Edwin Van Cleef, but still, it's one of the best ways that he can set up a potential freeze on a minion that's not the Tomb Pillager.
Yeah, do you think there's ever a reason to go the other way, play the SI first?
Play the SI and then just have a 4/4 Edwin.
You don't need to kill these minions, right? They're annoying, but they're very low damage at the moment.
The less of the minions you kill, the more flexibility you give to your opponent in being able to deny that freezing trap counterplay that you're obviously trying to set up from Pavel's perspective. So I think this order is correct. That's a little bit of a punish for him, because now the 1/1 can take care of the 2/1 and start limiting his options on the board.
An Eagle Horn Bow comes out to clear the SI7 agent, and this could get very, very frustrating. Pavel does use the weapon to proc the first part of the Grandmother at least, and make that trade a little bit more awkward, because suddenly the trade looks way better into the SI, but then the Van Cleef is bounced. And Van Cleef being bounced a lot of the time isn't too terrible.
Yeah, that weapon attack very much dictated by where the fiery bat shot ended up going, and now Amnesiac with the Eagle Horn bow pickup is going to go for it. This is a representation of a lot of damage, also just a great board control tool here. And that Tomb Pillager, this game of chicken with the freezing trap that has gone on since turn 3 when it was put into play with the Cloaked Huntress, just continues, and the stalemate right now is favoring the Hunter because he's trotting hero power by hero power towards victory.
Yeah, and the frustration now is Pavel had multiple options, or multiple turns, sorry, to actually prot the freezing trap, and now he needs to prot the traps, and there's a bow equipped.
Yep.
And in Pavel's list, there is no weapon destruction, so this bow is only going to get more and more charges, and as you mentioned, you can't exactly just not prot the traps for a while and try and make the Hunter trade. You'll just press hero power every turn and you will die.
Yeah, the bow is so miserable here because if there was a low pressure turn from Amnesiac from Pavel's perspective, he could have just frozen Tomb Pillager, replayed Tomb Pillager if he was allowed the time to do that for 6 mana, but not wanting to give the extra bow charges, as you said, he's just going to play out Auctioneer here, try and have it operate as a 4/4 taunt.
Yeah, and Amnesiac's got a really weird game plan here because both of the kill commands are actually gone through tracking. Obviously, Pavel won't know that, so it's something he's going to be very, very conscious of. But Amnesiac has to sort of piece together the puzzle without that huge burst damage, because a lot of the time it's how Hunter just ends the game. Especially when you have Tigers around that you can just guarantee the proc, because they're just not going to be killed while they're in stealth. So we'll see how Amnesiac decides to start to put that together, because Pavel knows now there is no burn in hand because there are no cards in hand.
Yeah, and this now is Pavel's moment. He has to figure out his way through this turn now. There are, again, 2 secrets equipped right now, so he knows there is a cat trick up. He knows the cat trick is going to proc right now, so he would have loved perhaps a Blood Mage pick up there to be able to fan off the cat trick from the board, but now he's going to go through his turn. I'm sure the Fan of Knives will end up getting cycled here. He can freeze the Tomb Pillager, attack into the Infested Wolf with the Gadgetzan Auctioneer, and then use Fan of Knives to clear off that, but he needs a really powerful chain of draws here.
Sinister Strike is not it.
Sinister Strike is a cycle, and it still opens up that card. The second Fan of Knives. That is exactly what he needed in this spot. The Sinister Strike could be played, but now picks up the Swashbuckler as well. Allows him to keep the Malagos Sinister Strike and a Giant Sandworm just to round it off.
Why not?
What else could you need?
Probably nothing at this point. So Pavel had an amazing turn there. Killing the Cat in the Hat is so important.
Yep.
It does so much damage. Obviously the stealth makes that very difficult, but Fan of Knives into Fan of Knives is huge there. And suddenly Amnesiac, with just an Infested Wolf in hand, he's got a lot of bow charges, but is it going to be enough when you know your opponent's got a hell of a lot of card advantage on you right now?
Yeah, we talked about the game of chicken that Pavel was playing with the freezing trap. Cat trick in most matchups is a game of chicken. In the Warrior matchup, you try and bring it out and then brawl in the same turn. In the Shaman matchup, you try and bring it out, spell power Maelstrom Portal in the same turn. Pavel found that spot where he could cycle, get some AoE options. The double Fan of Knives pulled it together, and now he's just about finding a way to climb back into this game. But Amnesiac, with an empty hand and a dream, is pushing through the damage he needs. I do wonder again whether that slightly less aggressive line that he took early on in the game might just come back to bite him, because remember, as you pointed out, both kill commands out of the deck at this point, so his finishing reach is a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, the options he realistically has are chaining quick shots, just to be able to stack up that damage extremely quickly. He would pretty much need to draw Tiger now, or the last one I was going to talk about is Ragnaros!
Woo, baby!
That is one of the very few cards in the deck that could pull him back into this, especially because what I like to refer to as a Yolagos has been played. You just put it on the board, hope that it doesn't die.
I mean, this is definitely the setup for Pavel, because
ends the game.
There's one deadly shot in the list from Amnesiac, which is really the only card that's going to interact with this. If it doesn't, it sets up lethal. This Ragnaros outcome here can potentially just decide this entire game. This is a huge rag.
Yeah, Amnesiac has the ability to just go for a 1 in 3 here, to be able to finish this game. And you know what? Not knowing what you're going to draw next and no resources in hand to do anything with them anyway, I wouldn't even blame him at this point.
Yeah, Amnesiasc just considering his options here, whether he wants to try and set up the more likely kill on the Malagos to try and extend the game longer, because he has Rag on the board right now, so he can set up a situation where the bad outcome of hitting Malagos kills Malik. He turns it down, he says no, he says 1 in 3, I will take my 33%, and Ragnarok says yes, yes son!
Woo! Amnesiasc with the play.